I just saw a nutter do something so disgusting. It's something we all know happens. We talk about it. We joke about it from time to time. But it was quite another thing to actually see it. It got me to thinking. And unfortunately, it also depressed the ever-living shit out of me. It got me thinking about how hopeless things are, especially when things like this are considered normal. Are you ready to hear what this nutter did? Well, I will tell you shortly, and I will elaborate on my thoughts as well. But first, I want to share a post someone shared with me. It includes some good questions for our movement.
I've had a burning question for the dog-free and anti-dog community. Are we actually serious? Do we really want meaningful change? What's our end goal? Is it to end dog ownership? Is it to make sweeping reforms and clamp down hard with strictly enforced regulations? We will accomplish nothing if we just hide in scattered corners in the internet, cowering in fear of social stigma. We must all unite and organize. If we're serious, we must come out of the shadows. Make hashtags on Twitter and Blue Sky. Create videos on YouTube. Make the effort to actually get out there and stir a little ruckus. Wear t-shirts, hand out pamphlets, form protests, create catchy slogans, and confront people in their nuttery.
These are not rhetorical questions, but I am not presenting them for the sake of getting answers. I think it is worth it to ponder such questions. Consider this a call to action. With that said, I am not very hopeful about the future at the moment. And here, I mean in general, but hear me out. Discussing the dog problem is, of course, very important, and it is a part of the solution. But obviously, that is not nearly enough on its own. Things need to actually change in the real world. And, to be sure, there is that rational part of me that always understands the fact that, realistically, we are not likely to see true change on a large scale in our lifetimes. And of course, I should interject here, in my own presentation, to point out that if no one does the work, things will never change. So just to be clear, this isn't an appeal to futility. On the other hand, it is a wonder that dog culture has been able to get as bad as it is now, and if society as a whole actually had values, it never would have gotten to this point. So I don't know how much faith I have in the people around us. Anyway, here's what that deranged nutter did. It's something that's basically second nature to these freaks. This nutter was picking up their dog's feces seconds after it was deposited on the grass. This is a commonly accepted practice in apartment complexes, parks, and other spaces. Besides how repulsed I was by the sight of this, I couldn't help but think how unacceptable this practice is, to say nothing else of all the other problems. Imagine if people were to start defecating and urinating right outside, all over the city, and right in front of your house or apartment, or around the corner from you. No one would tolerate this, and it is not somehow sanitary when these nasty dogs do it, as opposed to people doing it. In fact, it is worse. But here's the real point. Dog nuttery is something that needs to fall out of favor already. However, it is but a symptom, or perhaps a manifestation. Now, I just said that it needs to fall out of favor, but dog ownership ultimately needs to be abolished altogether, and it needs to be socially rebuked whether or not it is legally permitted. I am claiming we need to reject the whole thing outright. I personally do not believe a slightly less prevalent and possibly less extreme version of it can exist without inevitably turning back into what it is today. After all, that is how we got to where we are today. The main problem we have is that people, by and large, don't care. This is a broader societal issue, and one that, much like dog culture itself, requires collective action and intervention to address. Society today values neither societal cohesion and overall well-being, nor does it value individual empowerment. In countries like the US, people definitely give lip service to the idea of individual freedom, but in practice, most people only have the rights of consumers, and their power to act is determined by their access to material resources. Basically, those with wealth or capital can perhaps escape some of the madness, and the rest of us are stuck with it. In fact, near unbridled individual freedom, such as the so-called freedom to purchase and own a dangerous killing machine, is overemphasized and somehow seen as a sign of progress or enlightenment. People can't just do whatever the hell they want in this world, or at least they shouldn't be permitted to, when what they want to do conflicts with the health and safety of others. Dog ownership is also completely unnecessary in this day and age, which makes it all the more ridiculous that we are even still discussing or debating this. But I want to return to this, and I am sorry, but I am going to be blunt. People just don't give a shit. The feeling of being disconnected from others, even when surrounded by people, is a widespread phenomenon. This sense of disconnection can manifest in various ways, including feeling estranged from work, family, friends, and even oneself. And of course, several factors can contribute. These can include technological and cultural shifts, the commodification of everything, urbanization and globalization, and a lack of healthy social units. There are also, of course, psychological and social factors, as well as economic ones. We have a huge problem on our hands. There are significant and pressing issues that need to be addressed. With regard to criticisms of dog culture, this is an aspect that still goes largely unacknowledged and unaddressed. Finally, I want to share this exchange. This dog defender's nauseatingly predictable stock responses reveal how out of whack their priorities are. This person simply refuses to acknowledge that dogs are a problem for people and continually attempts to shift the focus onto me, as with this ridiculous follow-up. And ultimately, when pressed, simply cites this bullshit appeal to tradition about the history of dogs and humans. As if I hadn't already made several standalone videos specifically debunking that weak sauce non-response. It goes to show how far we still have to go. And in my view, it also suggests that this is not something that will ever be resolved in the free market of ideas. It also happens to be the case, unfortunately, that this probably isn't the best platform for this particular endeavor, at least at this time. Personally, I advocate for change, but I am not holding my breath.